Corepunk burst onto the scene combining ARPG gameplay with MMO systems and scale, but if you only checked out the trailer, you missed out on half the details. My name is Codiak, and this is everything you missed about Corepunk. Trailers are great, don't get me wrong, but if you want to dive into the meat and potatoes of a new or upcoming game, you always have to dig a bit deeper. For instance, Corepunk already has a planned release window, but you wouldn't know that if you just checked out the trailer. According to the company's website, Corepunk plans on starting open beta in Q4 2020. Now this might seem like a long ways off, but coming from someone who is already 1 year into following a hotly anticipated game in Hightail, I know the pain, and just having a release window is key to setting expectations. Corepunk also, from everything we can tell, believes in the MMO models of yesteryear. The company states that they're fundamentally against pay-to-win, which means a more traditional route is likely. That means something like a monthly subscription, expansions, or even free-to-play, pay for convenience, are all on the table. We don't know exactly how Corepunk will be monetized, but with such a firm stance against pay-to-win, you can imagine the company will avoid that route at all costs. Corepunk is being developed by the Amsterdam-based company Artificial Core and has actually been in production for the last 5 years. Just by looking at Corepunk, you could probably tell that the team has a stylized approach to graphics and atmosphere, focusing on post-apocalyptic elements, blurring the lines between genres such as cyberpunk and dark fantasy. A number of other factors have been confirmed for the game as well, such as the use of a true day-night cycle, and of course dynamic weather conditions. Additionally, we know that movement will be controlled by the mouse, with all abilities being tied to keyboards. While Corepunk does seem a long ways off, the team has announced that a closed beta is actually planned, and they look to get that off the ground soon. Players that sign up for the beta aren't guaranteed a spot, but participating in the forums gives them a better chance of being selected, amongst other things. For players that care about PvE, there is an insane amount of information outlined on the website that could completely pass unnoticed if you only checked out the trailer. Characters each have 3 weapon specializations, which each come with their own unique abilities and gaming styles. Each character also has access to 9 branches of passive talents, of which they can choose 3 to combine and pursue. Players will gain talent points by leveling up, as well as completing tasks around the world. Corepunk follows the typical MMO structure when it comes to character roles: tank, healer, DPS, and support, with an emphasis on flexibility that allows players to customize and adapt to fit a variety of styles and roles. While roles may be standard, itemization takes the game off the beaten path. Artifacts strengthen combinations of weapon specializations and passive talents, and will also give players access to new abilities. We saw bits and pieces of this in the trailer, but because the clips were disjointed across multiple characters and progressions, it was a bit hard to follow. Players will be able to pick their character, weapon specialization, and appearance all during character creation. You'll have the option to change weapon specialization after the fact, but you'll have to commit to your character choice. Each hero has a slight inclination towards a particular archetype, but weapon specs allow for flexibility across the board, which means options are fluid. Once you're in the game, there is plenty to do, much of which you saw in the trailer, but let's lock in on some of the confirmed content. The game is designed so that each player can decide for themselves how they want to play, and is largely soloable. Raid content and world bosses are the only areas where going alone won't be possible. For players scared by that concept, you'll be able to attain the same item level and character development by playing solo. Other PvE content includes randomly generated dungeons, mini-bosses, wandering bosses, and a camp system with advanced open-world AI, all of which is accessible to solo players or groups of up to 4. Doing quests and killing enemies is the main way to gain experience, much like other games, and that will take players to the current level cap at 40, but experience can be gained after reaching the cap and put towards upgrading a player's weapon specialization. In terms of secondary skills, players will also be able to focus on crafting, gathering, and social professions. Ore, wood, leather, and tech items are all obtained through those various skills and culminate in crafting and strengthening artifacts. There will also be a crafting rating system to spotlight the best craftsmen. Other gameplay systems like mounts and guilds are present, but more information isn't available at this time, but still play an important part of understanding the overall scope of the game. If you're more interested in bashing your fellow adventurer's skull in, the good news is that PvE isn't the only option in Corepunk. We saw a brief snippet of World PvP in the trailer, but to put some more perspective on the whole situation, Battlegrounds and Arenas will be implemented into the game on top of optional World PvP. Killing players nets you honor points, which you can spend on better equipment, but the real kicker is the karma system. When killing players, you receive karma points. The amount of points awarded will depend on the difference between the level and equipment of you and the defeated player. After a certain threshold, players can receive a criminal status, which prevents them from entering regular cities and towns, and additionally, once a criminal dies, they lose an artifact from their slot. What's clear is that this system acts as a deterrent for griefers that prefer to camp low-level players. Killing just one low-level player will make you a criminal and thus vulnerable to losing precious gear. It's also important to note that there is a chance to lose loot upon death regardless of your status, and that lowering your karma is possible by completing various tasks. Now, on a personal note, I do think that dropping gear is a potentially risky gameplay system. It's the only thing in the content I've sifted through that really has me concerned. The thing about MMOs is that players invest dozens, if not hundreds of hours into gearing out their characters, and if PvP means the chance of losing key items, that makes it a less attractive option for more PvE inclined players. As someone that spent a lot of time on the cutting edge of World of Warcraft raids, I wouldn't even entertain the idea of World PvP if it meant sacrificing my PvE progression, but I'll reserve judgment until we see how the system balances out. Information is just starting to trickle out about the game, and I'm sure in the next year we'll have a much clearer picture of how PvE and PvP will work. Guys, I am incredibly excited about Corepunk. It's got all the workings of a groundbreaking MMO. The gaming landscape is ready for this type of game, a massive multiplayer experience, but it can't be half-baked. At first glance, Corepunk checks off a lot of the boxes that many consider essential to success, but plenty more needs to be revealed and vetted before we get down to judgment. Thanks for checking out the video, and remember, you can keep the conversation going after the video is over by joining our Discord. That link is in the description below. And as always, guys, my name is Codiak, and from everyone here at the Game Gurus, thanks for watching, and play on. Thanks for checking out the video. If you want to learn more about the game, or just want to be part of an incredible video game community, join the Game Gurus on Discord. Be the first to know what's going on with the channel and interact with me and the rest of the team on a daily basis. To join, check out the link below.